What does it look like when your character casts Magic Missile? This question and variations of it are common in the hobby. So common it almost reaches the Mercerian level of how do you want to do this? Yet this one doesn't exist simply to give the players the satisfaction of the kill. This one is a tool, and if used properly, one that will elevate your games to the next level. Welcome back, my homies. I was running my family game when my wife, a smoking hot druid, decided to wild shape into an owlbear. Yes, I handed her the ability to wild shape into an owlbear because I'm a fearless rebel laughing in the face of the player's handbook. Also, she saw the movie and wanted it, and arguing about D&D with your wife is not fun. So as she says she's going to wild shape, I turn to her and I simply ask, what does it look like? Caught a little off guard, she thinks for a second and goes into a fun description that went something like this. I close my eyes and suddenly my body begins to morph unnaturally. I fall forward onto my hands and knees and the feathers and fur sprout out. It only takes about 5 seconds and suddenly I leap back onto my back legs, much larger. I let out a roar from my beaky face. And I notice as she does this, she's telling the table, not me, the DM who asked the question. As she described in great detail the transition from a blazingly gorgeous elf into a large, ferocious owlbear, I get to sit back and watch the game change a little. You see, we tend to fall into the habit of using statements of mechanics when we play D&D, especially in combat. And it takes effort to fend this off. Sure, the outcome is the same. Once an elf is now an owlbear. By describing it as she did to the whole table, she drew the other players into her vision of the character. The other players saw this amazing transition in their minds and reacted to it in character. Suddenly, they were all in the scene instead of waiting on their turn in combat. Their gasps and their groans as they watched this owlbear take form took their attention for a moment. The more squishy members opted to use this impressive feathery meat shield on their turns, diving behind the owlbear for cover, and role-played out the move because they had insight into what the owlbear looked like, how it felt to be near it, and used it to slip deeper into the scene. And the phrase slip deeper into the scene is a great way to describe it, actually. It's our goal as the DM. We want our players at the table to disappear and to materialize inside the scene. Now, my family game is a very casual game, with newish players who often struggle with roleplay. So to get them to become more involved in first person, it's got to happen naturally and unforced. We need to trick them a little bit into seeing a shared vision of the game. And this is why I refer to the phrase, what does it look like when your character does something as a tool? We as the DM ask it and wait and let the players paint the picture for the other players at the table, not for us. If we use the tool frequently enough and encourage our players to describe these special events like spells, tactics, feats, and the abilities that they have, then the players start flavoring the world alongside you. I'm willing to bet all of us had been through combat which devolved into you hit, you miss. The DM tries to combat this by adding the occasional flavor to it, but it's hard as a DM to do 100% of the narration of combat. But I could argue we shouldn't be trying to do 100%. After all, our players are there too, and they know their characters inside and out. So questions like this helps them to remember that they are the authors of their own stories, and that they can contribute to the world in their own details as the story goes on. Now, some people might say that asking this question slows down the game, but I disagree. D&D isn't intended to be a fast game. Seconds in combat takes minutes in real life, and we shouldn't be in a rush because it's the journey that is the reward, not the destination. This isn't a video game after all, this is so much more. So next time you see your combats getting too mechanical, too hit and miss, start asking players, what does it look like? And watch the scene you spent so much time planning come back to life as your players engage their own characters. You just worry about your monsters and what they look like. And that's it for now, guys. Have a killer week, and I will see you guys all next time.